Okay, so at this point you have all your puzzle pieces done and you are ready to create your assembly file. By the way, in order to add color to each of these pieces, you're looking for this tool right up here. Under Appearance it says Adjust. For me it's under my Tools tab, so that's hopefully where it would end up being for you guys as well. But you click the little Adjust, it gives you this color wheel. So the outside adjusts the color, the inside adjusts the shading or the tone of the color. So once you have this tool up, you click the part over in the part browser. So like if I wanted to change this part to like green, select green on the outside, so that changes the color. Maybe I wanted a dark green, I could change the cube towards the darker end of that and then click check, and now I have a dark cube. So make sure that you save that, and then that'll save the color as well. But I'm going to undo that because I wanted this to be red for my purposes. So notice that I've named the parts according to their color. That's going to make things easier when I go into assemble. Before you can assemble, you have to have all your parts done, and they have to be saved somewhere on the computer that you can reference. Okay, so iPro new assembly. I'm going to create a new assembly file. Okay, so the way that this works is you're going to drop in each of your pieces and then place them together. So I would recommend, if you've got like one bigger piece that's kind of like the center of your cube, I might start with that guy. I'm working off of these plans for me, so I'm going to drop in my red cube, my red piece first. And then maybe I'll put like my yellow piece next to that. So I'm going to put in my red and my yellow pieces first. So place up here, I'm going to place component, navigate to the folder where you saved your stuff, and I'm going to place in my red component, red part, click once and it drops it in. Now, just like when you're drawing lines, in order to stop placing stuff, you either have to hit escape or right click and click OK. Alright, so there's my red piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop in my yellow piece as well. Click, right click, OK. Okay, so I've got these two pieces together. So how are they supposed to fit together? Well, basically, according to these plans, the yellow piece, this bottom part of the yellow piece, is going to kind of hug the corner of the red piece. So you can click and drag and move these guys around. Here's your basic movement. So you can use the view cube again to orient yourself and swing around in whatever way you want to do that. If you just click and drag, you can move these guys. You can also rotate them. You've got a free rotate tool up here. The way that I would recommend, before you start rotating stuff around, I would make sure that you're at an orthogonal view so that you have a better idea of what you're rotating rather than being at an isometric view. So, for example, if I needed to rotate this yellow piece, I might swing over to my front view and then grab my free rotate tool and then click it once. Once you click it, you get this like crosshair type looking thing. Depending on where your mouse is on that icon, the cursor changes. You can see how my cursor right now changes from looking like I'm spinning around in a circle from this view to now I'm moving that way. So like, for example, if I click right now, I'm going to rotate it in that direction. Whereas if I wait and I click when the icon changes there, now I'm going to spin it around this axis, and then finally I've got one more up here. If I grab this guy, I can spin it around that way. So I'm going to undo that. Oh, also, if you just go anywhere in the middle, that's free rotate. So this way you can spin it on really any axis you want. That's kind of really hard to control. So if you're going to rotate it at all, I would stick to rotating along one of the three axes here. Alright, so I'm going to undo that and place this back to where it should have been. Okay. So how do we stick things together? Well, you get it close. You get it relatively close using just moving them around and using that free rotate tool. And then once it's relatively close to what you want, you've got a constraint. So up here I've got constraint. There are two types of constraints that we're going to be using for this. There is a mate and there's a flush. And they basically draw, these images here really do a pretty good job of indicating what they do. So a mate is going to take two surfaces facing each other and it's going to stick them together. A flush is going to take two surfaces side by side and make sure that they move into parallel planes. So generally you're going to probably need either two mates and a flush or two flushes and a mate to go about sticking two pieces together. So I'm going to start with a mate, and I'm going to mate that surface to that surface. So when I do that, it sticks those two together. You have to make sure you click apply. If you don't click apply, that constraint will not hold. So click apply. I'm going to close this for now. You'll notice under my red part now, it says, oh, you have a mate constraint. Same thing under my yellow part. That mate constraint is now there. Okay. So that did a pretty good job of making this hug that corner the way that I want it to. But so yeah, that did a pretty good job of making this stick the way I wanted it to. But you'll notice it's not quite even here. Like the red piece is slightly off from the yellow piece. So I probably need to do a couple more constraints. I'm going to flush these two surfaces together, and then I'm going to flush the top two surfaces together, and that way I will have, these pieces will be perfectly joined. So constrain, flush this time, this surface to this surface, apply. Alright, so those guys are perfectly in line in that direction right now. Lastly, I'm going to add a flush on the top two, apply. Okay, so with one mate and two flushes, I've been able to constrain my puzzle pieces so that they're snapped together. And you can test this out if you click one of your puzzle pieces and drag it away. Okay, so see, I need one more constraint here because I can still move this piece off of the other one. So I'm actually going to need another mate constraint. I need to make sure that this surface is stuck to that surface. So constrain mate surface 1 to surface 2. Apply. Okay. So at this point, when I click and I try to drag around, now they move together and there is no separate movement. Okay? So in that way, I've gotten these two guys together. So I'm pretty much done giving you information in terms of your assembly. I'm going to keep assembling this, so if you want to keep watching it, feel free. Otherwise, I think at this point you can pretty much figure out what you're doing. Cool. So my assembly file is done. I'm going to make sure that I save this wherever you're saving your stuff. You might even want to make a new folder. And I'll call this assembled cube. Alright, so screenshot that, drop it in your models page, and also save the part or the assembly file and attach that to your page.